In this video, I'm going to show you how to use a Node JS app to send data to Zoho CRM. This is in response to a comment from Pedro, who was asking about how to have an external application that sends data to Zoho CRM using some way of integrating with the API. And generally, my preference when I'm integrating with Zoho through the API is to use a standalone function. In this case, it's no different. I've got a Node JS app which imports data from a CSV file. This is for a student management system. And what it does after it does some data processing, gets it into the correct format for the CRM. It then, down here, it triggers a custom function. You can see here, we've got a function called import student record. And at that point, we post the data. And then on the other side, we've got a serverless custom function inside the student management system, which is available via the REST API. And that then is able to receive the payload that we're sending from the Node JS app. To make it simpler, we're parsing it directly from the payload body. We're basically, by doing to map, we're converting it to JSON, and then we're able to get the student payload key, which is basically this part here. And we're able to then use some delete script in here to do various functions. We're searching to see whether the contact already exists. If it doesn't exist, we create it. The advantage of doing it this way is that the parts where Node.js shines, which is being able to parse some data and play around with in a way that would be quite annoying to do with delete script. I mean, there's no real way to read a CSV file within delete script. We can do that in Node. And then for the parts where deluge does really well, for example, zoho.crm.search records, that's super simple compared to the equivalent in Node.js. Same thing with the Node JS SDK is quite painful because first you have to deal with OAuth, and then you have to deal with turning the response from the API into a more meaningful approach, whereas it's very easy to do in delete script. Maybe it's just me because I'm pretty used to using the delete script. Maybe someone who's never seen Deluge might find this a bit annoying, but I personally find that I can be more productive by having a dual approach where I use Node or Python for the parts where those programming languages are superior, and I use delete script for the areas where it does really well. Hopefully that helps you to see how you can combine an external app with your CRM by using serverless custom functions. The key thing for me is that if you get it from the body, then it's way easier. If you try and mess around with having arguments here, it's really quite annoying. For example, if I try to do something like student payload here, I'd have to send it as a string, and then I'd have to turn it into a map afterwards, and it's just quite frustrating, and I always forget the syntax, because the syntax here for getting it out of the body is very simple. You just need to make sure that your serverless function has this special parameter, CRM API request. It says it's a string, but it's actually a map or a collection, and then inside that you've got various extra attributes, including the body, where you're able to get the payload that was sent over the wire.